Hello, everyone. This is Professor Guevara. So, as promised, I'm going to talk about project communication management. And the topic for this particular video is the key concepts of communication, the five C's of effective communication, and how to calculate communication channel. Now, this is a very important topic because as a project manager, you're actually spending most of your time communicating, right? Almost 80% of your time you're communicating with your team, with the stakeholders, with the leadership, and even the customers. So if communication breaks down, the project usually follows. So let's start with the basic concept. So the key concepts with regards to communication, as listed in your screen, are written communication, spoken communication, formal and informal communication, language and tone media, and choice of words, right? So with regards to written communication, this includes emails, reports, memos, basically anything that are documented. This is important because through this communication, we're creating a record. If something goes wrong later, then we can always go back and check what was communication. So written communication is very important as part of project management. The second one is spoken communication, right? It could be our meetings, presentations, or just regular one-on-one conversations. This is faster and more interactive, but also riskier because things can be misunderstood if it's not clearly explained, right? So sometimes we make the assumption that because we discuss it in our meeting, that everybody understands it the same way, right? So that's the risk. The next two is going to be the next type of communication is formal and informal communication. When we're talking about formal, we know it that it's normally structured. It's like submitting an official report or a scheduled meetings, right? When we're talking about informal communication, it is more casual. It's like a quick check-in or a chat when we're sending information through WhatsApp. Then those are mostly informal communication, but it's more quicker. And honestly, in real projects, right, informal communication is what often gets things done quickly, right? So just like your team, I'm pretty sure you have a WhatsApp group that immediately announces any type of updates to your project, so everybody are aware of what the latest update is on your project. For example, your extravaganza project, then I'm pretty sure once a message has been sent through the WhatsApp chat, everybody can read it immediately. The next one is body language and tone. Even if your words are correct, but your tone or your facial expression is not basically saying what you're trying to send as a message, then sometimes people wouldn't understand how much you meant for that particular message, right? So, for example, when we say things like, we need to fix this, it can either sound supportive or it can be critical, right? It's either somebody submitting a report and we're saying, reporting a problem, and then we need to fix this. It's just basically saying that we need to find a way. But if it's critical, it's something that's already an urgent thing, then we might need to be more emphatic in the way we're saying it, right? We need to fix this, right? Depending on how we say it. So, of course, that's the reason why body language and tone matters, most especially when we're having a face-to-face meeting. Then we need to make sure that the tone and the body language uh, coincides with what the message should be. Then the next one is media, which is basically the communication channel. How are we communicating? Are we communicating it through email? Do we send it via email? Are we communicating by calling a meeting and addressing it through an agenda or through a dashboard, right? We have an interactive dashboard where we do update in the dashboard and everybody can see it, right? And then the final one is basically the choice of words. As a project manager, you're dealing with different people, right? And we have our technical teams. We also have to deal with the executives, and we also have to deal with other stakeholders. So you need to adjust your language depending on your audience, right? So of course, if we're talking about leadership, then we might need to be more formal in the way we're providing our report. When we are dealing with our technical teams, then we have to more talk about more detail or more technical information when we are communicating the status of our project, right? So you need to adjust your language depending on your audience, right? Of course, the simple and clear always works best when we're doing communication. So this next slide is talk about the 5 C's of communication, right? Basically, to ensure that we are sending the message correctly and we are anticipating that the receiver is also understanding the message, then one of the ways for us to guide ourselves in communicating is what we call the 5 C's of communication, right? The number one is the first one is correct, right? Basically, it's saying that making sure that our communication is accurate, that there are no errors in grammar, spelling, or data. Because once people sometimes read it and they see those grammar mistakes, then they're basically questioning the credibility of the person writing this message, right? So sometimes it becomes a noise or people are, those wrong grammars or wrong spelling affects the focus of rather focusing on the message, and then it kind of like derails them from understanding what the message is. The second one is concise. So basically, when we're talking about concise, we want to make sure that we are really on what the message is, right? We want to keep it short and we want to make sure that it's straight to the point. People don't want to read long emails, and they want to make sure that it's clear, that there's clarity in the message that we are informing them. Then the next one, the third one is clear purpose, right? Always ask yourself, why am I sending this, right? What do I want the reader or the listener to do, right? What is to ensure that they're understanding it? What do you want to relay to the receiver to ensure that he properly understands it when you start and when you end your messages, you have a clear purpose for it, right? And then the fourth one is coherent, right? We are trying to make sure that when we are drafting a message or an email or a report, we want to make sure that it is basically the flow of the message is proper, right? So we do an introduction first, and then we probably explained it more on the body of the message, and then we end it up with a conclusion, right? So you start with the context, then what are the key points that you're trying to emphasize on your message, and then in the end you have some sort of a summary, right? You summarize them. So that's the structure that helps people to understand it faster. Then the fifth one is controlled, right? This is about managing how information is presented, right? If we need to use visuals or summarize it or put a bullet points to it, so that it will not overwhelm the audience. Then things that we need to think about when we are writing this email or this message or this report, right? So basically, again, those five C's are correct, concise, clear, coherent, and controlled, right? So basically, this is just giving you the definition of those five C's and what are the advantages of the five C's. So how do you analyze the communication, right? What are the sources of information typically used to identify and define project communication, right? What are the requirements that are needed for this communication? So who needs the information? You ask yourself who needs the information, what information they need, when they need it, and how will you deliver that communication, right? So some of the things that you are going to consider are the stakeholders. What are the expectations of the stakeholders? Um, what is the organizational structure of the company that you're dealing with? Who are the departments that are involved? Is it marketing? Is it IT? Is it finance? We need to make sure that we are communicating because they will be affected or can affect the project. And then the locations, right? Especially if the team is global or some of the teams leave or stays in another office, then how are we going to communicate with them, right? So one way for us to strategize on communicating is by identifying what the number of communication channels, right? There's a way for us to calculate communication channels, right? So you see the highlighted uh, words in the presentation slide is the formula for communication channels. So it's equals to n times n minus 1 divided by 2. And n represents the number of stakeholders, right? So how many stakeholders are there? The main stakeholders, including the project manager. Then by identifying that number, then you're able to plug it in the formula, and then you will have an idea as a project manager on what are the communication channels needed. So here's an example of the communication channels, right? Assuming we were starting with four individuals, including the project manager, how would you calculate the communication channels if there's four individuals, which includes the project manager, um, to find out the number of communication channels, right? So basically, following the formula that I mentioned earlier, right? Communication channels is n times n minus 1 divided by 2. So therefore, if n is 4, 4 times 4 minus 1 divided by 2 equals to 12 divided by 2 equals to 6. So for the four original team members plus the project manager, there is a 6 communication channels that is anticipated. So the next question is, what if we add one more team member? So if we add another person to our team member, does that mean that we just add one more on our communications channel? Does it mean that the 6 becomes 7 because we're only adding one person? So again, using that same formula, now that we are now 5, including the project manager, the communication channel formula is n times n minus 1 divided by 2, or 5 times 5 minus 1 divided by 2 equals to 20 divided by 2 equals to 10. So therefore, as a project manager, if you're trying to identify how many communication channels are needed, then for 5 team members, including the project manager, there will be 10 communication channels, right? So to answer question number 3, how many channels were added if I added one person to the team? So therefore, I'm just going to minus the 10 minus 6 will give me the answer of um, 4 additional channels are going to be added? I don't think I put it on the slide, but the answer is 4 for number 3. Okay, there you go. So here's another sample that I would like you to practice on, right? Please, if you can take a picture of this, because the next slide will give you the answer already, so I have to skip it. So there, it asks you this question that if you have 10 people on your project, including you as the project manager, how many communication channels do you have? When the second question is if you add 5 on your project, including you as the project manager, how many communication channels do you need? And then question number 3, similar to the last problem, how many communication channels were added? So please take a picture, and then after that, I will put a assignment activity in Moodle where you can submit your answer. So just to wrap it up, that communication is one of the most critical skills in project management. The 5 C's can help you communicate clearly and effectively. And understanding the communication channels helps you manage complexity as your project grows, right? If you take one thing on this video, make sure that clear communication prevents problems before they actually happen. So with that assignment, please submit your assignment and also provide your feedback on the topics that we discussed in the Moodle forum, right? So this is an assignment that I'm expecting everybody to respond. Thank you.